welcome all of you to our English Swadyaya. I humbly welcome all of you to our English Swadyaya session. Um, Masters, before we start, let us offer our humble pranams to Brahma Shri Pita Mahapatriji, Swarnamala Patrijima, and to all the pyramid masters and universe. And today we will be talking about the Buddha's Wife book. And as you know, for past few weeks, we've been sharing our own understanding on this book and our wisdom on this about this book. And today, three of us will be sharing our wisdom and our understanding. Master Thila will be sharing chapter 19 and 20. Me, myself, Pathma Sivalingam, will be sharing my view on chapter 21, 22, and 23, and 24 and 25. Master Krishna Veni will be sharing her understanding and wisdom. And this is an amazing book to actually to start off. And personally, for me, it's been a very like an emotional roller coaster. And this chapter is today specifically going to be a very enlightening session, actually. So, masters, without any further ado, let us start with meditation for 10 minutes, and then we will continue with our Swadyaya. So, masters, sit comfortably. You may sit in Padmasanam or Suhasan. Cross your, intertwine your fingers. Close your eyes. If you are wearing glasses, please remove your glasses and close your eyes and just concentrate on your breath. Your natural, beautiful, easy breath. Let us meditate for 10 minutes, masters. If you have your pyramid head, please do utilize it. Master, let us meditate. Masters, slowly come back to your consciousness. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now gently place your palms on your eyes, masters, for 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now slowly open your eyes and look at your palms. Okay, welcome back, masters. Let us congratulate ourselves for the wonderful meditation. And to those who just joined us, or to those who's new to the for a Swadyaya session and who don't know about this book, today we will be sharing our understanding and wisdom on the Buddha's Wife. This book actually, I can't say it's a fictional or imaginary story. It's more to what if. It's from Yashodhara, Buddha's wife point of view, from her perspective. It's like in Buddhism, we always know it's more about Buddha's energy. It's always about Buddha, the yang side of the story. But now we are in this book, we are reading about the yin, the feminine side of the story, and all their experience and all how they deal with the emotion after Buddha's leaving. So, masters, so far we have covered 18 chapters. In all those chapters, mainly we encountered the character Yashodhara, Buddha's wife, and Buddha's mother, Parijavati. And these two characters, they are sharing their experience of dealing with the pain and suffering to Kisa Gotami and other nuns from the Buddha Sangha. Okay, my masters, let me invite Master Thila to share her understanding and wisdom on chapter 19 and 20. Master Thila.
Thank you, Pathmaji. My humble pranams to Brahma Shri Patriji and Swarnamala Patriji. You can hear my voice, right?
Yes, Thila.
Okay, loud and clear. Okay, today we're going to talk about chapter 19. Chapter 19 is actually is a phase where Rahula is 6 years old. And then the king is telling the Yasodhara that he's going to send Rahula to hermitage. When they were young, in India last time, what they do, they will send to a hermitage where the children is taught about everything, about Veda, about spirituality, about science, about art of war and all those things. Gurukula, yes, send them to Gurukula. So Yasoda, the king want to send, but Yasoda was not too keen about it. So what Yasoda does is she sent Channa to go and look for Buddha with one message. This meant the message and the specific message is, for the sake of your son, you need to come. So after 1 month, Channa returns, and Channa comes and tells that he has actually, it took him 1 month to go and look for Buddha. And he says that he has seen Buddha at the foothills of Himalaya. And he says there are hundreds of people around there waiting to listen to him. And he said, and he's difficult to get in touch with him because he is surrounded by a lot of people. And Ananda, his cousin, is actually the one of the most inner circle. And even to get to Ananda also, it took him some time. So Yasodhara asked, have you sent the message to him? And Channa says, yes, I waited until the message from Ananda came to me, and then only I came back. So here, what happens is, he said, do you think that Buddha will come? And he said, no, Buddha is going towards the west, whereas we are in the south area. So Buddha Yasodhara is a bit unsettled about the news, and then she keeps quiet. She doesn't say anything. So, but she said, come and share this news with this circle of women. So he shares this news to everybody there. And then here he talks about Buddha sharing his dharma with everybody. And he says there are a certain specific wisdom that comes out from him, and it's deep wisdom. And then he said about 3 monks are actually assigned to listen to his talk and to memorize the talk. And then to actually, so that they can share it with the others at a later time. And then he said, Yasodhara asked, is there any women? He said, there's no women. But other people, all the other castes, religion, doesn't matter. Everyone is allowed, but no women were in that circle. And then he says that Yasodhara, Buddha always speak from a platform that is raised so that everybody can see. And he says, Channa shares that he is so into listening to all the talk, and he can feel the vibration, good vibration. And he felt that he didn't want to come, he didn't want to come back to home. And then Yasodhara asked, why didn't you stay? And then Channa says that I am staying because I have given you my word that I will be in your inner circle. So Prajapati, when Prajapati listened, says, actually he has succeeded to be an enlightened one, and he's actually bringing in the enlightening all the others who are beside him. So his birth, the one that as predicted by the birth, is actually was happening. So Prajapati and Yasodhara looks at each other, and Prajapati said, okay, let us get prepared for Buddha to come. But Yasodhara keeps quiet because she knows that Buddha is not really going to come, So that particular night, Prajapati, what Yasodhara does, she calls Channa to the chamber, and there they talk. And then she, as a wife, she really wants to know what is happening with her husband. And she asks, how does he look, So whether he's eating, whether he's taking care of himself and all those things. So Channa gives a very clear explanation that he said, he looks so beautiful, he's glowing. And he said the inner circle of people and all those people who are around him, they are also very glowing. And they all they have this faces full of serenity, joy, and peace, And I also feel that kind of admiration, And this is where she asked, why didn't you stay? And he says that because I have given my vow to be in our circle, our wisdom teaching in our circle. So with that, what happens is, so she asked, is there anything left of our Siddhartha? When she said our Siddhartha, she's thinking about the 18 years of marriage that she has with him. And then Channa looks at her and says, yeah, Siddhartha is still the same. He talks lovingly with kindness. He shows everything. But I think he said he didn't say I think. He said he has been transformed. And I'm not sure if our Siddhartha is truly left, So with that, she gets the answer. And then she asks about the teaching. And this is the chapter where Channa is actually talking about Ana Anakanasity Meditation. So he is teaching her how to do the Ana Anakanasity Meditation. So he's asking her to sit quietly, sitting in silence with the eyes closed, follow the movement of the breath, notice where it goes, the length of the breath, the warmth of the breath, the rhythm, the irregularity, and just letting the breath as it is. And he said, whenever your mind, whenever attention drifts from the breath, you observe what is happening in the mind, but go back to your breath. So when you do that, sorry, but it's nice. So when you do that, what happens is the turmoil, whatever turmoil that is happening in your mind, it settles down, and actually you can feel the burden in your body releasing little by little. And then he teaches her this meditation. They sit down for some time, but she was so used to, I think earlier they were not doing this kind of meditation. Just to reiterate about this, they were actually talking about it with the eyes closed. They were doing meditation. Here is actually asking them to close the eyes and observe the breath. So with that, and she says, and she also feels that Channa has changed, I think this is coming back to our meditation. Every time when we do this kind of meditation, we know there is some kind of changes in our body. And she can sense an aura of learning in him, and there's a touch of wisdom in him. And then she said, you have become a Kalyana Mitran. Kalyana Mitran is a spiritual friend. And when she says that, and Channa seems to be surprised. He said, this is exactly what Buddha was telling. Buddha is telling several times that we have become Kalyana Mitran. And this particular word is actually what Buddha and she used to tell each other. You are my Kalyana Mitra, my spiritual friend. So, okay, going back to this, and she's going back to the question, why don't you come and join us in the inner circle? She said, Channa says, no, I'm scared because the king is not too happy that I come and join. And king also, they have a law, a kind of I won't say law, a kind of tradition that the women and the men does not sit together. The same thing that's happening with Buddha's circle also. Buddha's circle, the ladies were not sitting there. And the same here. Here also the ladies were not sitting in that circle, It's a kind of forbidden thing to sit together. So she's asking, everyone is allowed, even the untouchable, but not the women. And so she said, yes, even then. And then they said, then she asked this question, if that is the case, how can you call Buddha to be enlightened one? So that is a question to everyone also, yeah. So here, going back to the continuation of the story. So what happened is Pajapati and Yasodhara goes and see Sudodana is the king. And Pajapati is actually excited that the Buddha might come back to the kingdom. But so Yasodhara is not, because she knows that he is not going to come back, Even if he come back, he is going to come back as the enlightened one, not as the husband or the father of Rahu. So Pajapati goes to Yasodhara, goes to Sudodana and tell him that he's going to come back. And she said, let us plan for that. And here Sudodana, he gets very angry and he said, I don't want to hear about this story because for me, Siddhartha is dead, So when he says this, Pajapati gets very, very angry. All this while, she has never fought with him. But this one word, she really got so angry and they started fighting. So that fight was going on a few days until the whole palace was kind of involved. They were taking side to be with the king or the queen, that kind of fight was going on. And then there was a lot of tension. what happened was the inner circle, only a few ladies were, and Yashodhara was doing it every day. Not every, even Prajapati didn't go for the circle because she was keeping away from that, because there was so much of tension. When you have tension in going on, there is no sorry, there is no the no will to go and sit. Okay, so he kept on saying that my son is dead. He has no right to come back uninvited. So Yasodhara tells Prajapati, even if he comes, I will not make any intention to go and see him. I will not approach him to meet. But if he comes and talk to my son Rahul, I'm willing to allow that. So that is the situation that was going on. And then as I said, the fight was going on. Then one day, the king was so angry, so he said, okay, what he did was, when he left, he tore all of us apart. And now he's coming back, is actually doing the same thing also. So he got so angry, and he said, well, okay, Siddhartha is dead, he's not going to come. He will not be welcome here. And he told to Yashodhara, tomorrow I'm going to send your son away to the Gurukulam. And what Yashodhara did was, that was the first time she goes and see the king and talk to him. He said, no, you have no right to send my son away. But if you did, from tomorrow onwards, I will not eat, I will not drink. Sorry, yeah. I will not eat and I will not drink. I will go on a fasting. Just this, and then my death, sorry, and then my death will be on your head. Just this, that it goes on. And then the next day, what happened was, that after this incident, the king becomes very, there's too much of turmoil in him. He doesn't know what to do. Okay. And then he said, he asked her what to do. This before that, Yasodhara, what actually happens is, Yasodhara goes and sees him and asks him. He said, please share your grief with us. And then he said, the king said, what? Me sharing my grief with you? Yeah, come and sit in the circle. Say, a king joining the women sitting with the servant? He said, yeah, why not? And then he says, for me, Siddhartha is dead. And then Yasodhara asked him, if he is dead, did you ever cry for his death? He kept quiet, So he said, I can't. And she says, I can't talk about this anymore until you come and sit with us in the inner circle. So the next day, what happened was, the day after, she goes on a fasting. When Prajapati hears that Yasodhara is not taking any food, she also joins. She and a few ladies will join. And then one of the servants will go and say, all the women in the palace are fasting and all their deaths is on your head now. So when they say this to the king become very upset and he doesn't know what to do, So he was really thinking, how am I going to come out from this? And then Yasodhara tells him, do not suffer alone, okay? Suffering alone is in isolation is not going to help you, but come and join us in our suffering. With this suffering, when we share, we can actually get rid of the suffering. So with that, the next chapter. Sorry, go back to you, Pathma. Sorry.
Okay, Thila, thank you very much. So I will be sharing my understanding and this little bit of the story from chapter 21 until 23rd. So starting from where Thila ended. So King Sudodana was invited by Yashodhara to join their compassionate circles. But it's a taboo for a man and moreover a king of a big kingdom to sit among the ladies and complain or grieve. So after the first day, the king threatened that he's going to send little Rahula to Gurukul. The boy was still there, the prince, the young boy. So that shows like they are mogo, they are what they call in their band against the king worked. So the king didn't send Rahula to Gurukul. So seeing this, the women, they start to take little, water and juices. And then the second day of the, because they still continue to meet in their compassionate circle time. So Rahula, what he does, he announced to all the ladies and his mother that his grandfather called for him and asked him, what he wants. Do you want to become a warrior, or you want to, just what you want to become? So the little boy, this is what the adults failed to do, what Prajapati failed to do. The boy said, Grandpa, I will do my duty to you. That means that boy shows his side of, that he understand the grandfather's feeling. That 6 years boy, that's what must have changed King Sudodana's heart. Finally somebody who's willing to hear him and ask him, show that love. Because all the ladies, they encountered this loss. Of course, Prajapati and Yashodhara, they lost uh, husband and son. But the king also equally lost his son and also an heir to his for his own kingdom. But nobody dared to ask him, how he feels, how he's grieving. But Yashodhara did. And when that little boy went and showed his son, everybody was showing their retaliation. Yashodhara to Prajapati and all the lady servants, they were rebelling against the king. But this one boy showed his submissive side. And that's changed the king's, softened the king's heart. So when and the boy, after the boy said, I will do my duty to you, it means he says that, Grandpa, whatever you decide for me, I know it's for my own good, I will listen to it. And after that, still the next day, the boy was there. So that shows the king has left the young child choose his destiny. It's so unlike before, where the king was very much imposing what he wants upon his own son. Where, if only if the king would have asked Siddhartha what he want to become, all this thing wouldn't have been happened. Rahula wouldn't be there, Yashodhara wouldn't be suffering. Probably Siddhartha Gautama would have started his enlightenment journey way young before all this thing. But the king learned the lesson now. And finally, the king uh, agreed to meet Yashodhara alone in the circle group. So that shows, the king is coming down. He needs healing too. He was deeply hurt by Siddhartha Gautama's, I can say, betrayal, because all of them going through the same pain. It's just since his birth, Siddhartha Gautama birth, everybody knew one day he's going to leave, but nobody accepted the truth, because so much of love on that one person. The entire palace loved him. Siddhartha Gautama become the purpose of their life, and all of a sudden that purpose is no more. So they felt lost. And how the ladies, they grieved. In what the king did, he became so angry, and that's how, all this anger, all this shouting towards Prajapati, and threatening sending to Rahula to Gurukul, it's his way of showing, I'm in pain too, I'm suffering as well. Shout, that's the way he's shouting out to them. But finally, when he agreed to meet Yashodhara, it's fine, he wanted to open his heart to Yashodhara. And he was truly amazed, because all of them in the same pain. But how Yashodhara evolved from a weakling to somebody who strong enough, be like a therapist, like to her, from a weakling to a healer, emotional healer. Where he, when he saw that transformation, he loved Yashodhara equally, how he loved his own son. And he started to open up. But of course, it was very hard for him to share his emotion. With the first word itself, his voice started to tremble and he started to tear. But he can't show it. He's the king. You can't show a weak man can't be a king. So he said, okay, I let Rahula choose his destiny, but I will never forgive my son. That shows how much the father still loved the son and couldn't take it what the son did to the father. And after that, when the king left, all the other ladies again joined the circle, and Prajapati also joined the circle. So here Yashodhara told them what the king said, and everybody start to discuss about that. What, this is the healing of the broken chain, the circle, because when they had the Prajapati and Sudodana had fight, like Tilama said, they took the servants all took sides. So not all of them complete the circle. Not everyone met during this circle, the group circle. So now they, this kind of awkwardness, I talk bad about you, you talk bad about me, finally we are sitting in a circle, we have to look at each other's face, and we have to reconcile. So when this moment is happening, so what Yashodhara and Prajapati did, they made two elderly people sit next to them, the females, and from their point of view, can say from third party's point of view, they asked them what conspired this scenario, this entire situation. So from, sometimes they say the third party, the third person can see the whole situation better, because they're seeing as a whole, not an affected people. When you're affected, you tend to follow your emotion too much, or you tend to take side. But the person who's not involved in any, they will see the entire incident as a whole. So these elderly people, they gave their opinion. So when they started to give their opinion, all the other ladies, they start to share their own opinions and ideas about how to heal the broken chain. And from that, the circle again got restored, and now they have evolved into a new level. Before, it was all in the pain, they were sharing the pain. Now how to heal from the broken, the awkwardness of the, when you have disagreement, how to reconcile back. So it's a new experience from them, they learn from the incident. And towards the end of this chapter, what Yashodhara will be so excited to share is, finally Buddha is Siddhartha is coming back to the kingdom. And how he is coming back to the kingdom, we will be seeing in the next chapter. So when when they knew that Siddhartha Gautama is coming towards their kingdom, they thought he'll come to them in a few weeks time, but actually it took longer time. Why? Because everywhere Buddha goes, there'll be people inviting Buddha to their village or their city, to preach. So Buddha, of course, what he'll do, he will abide to that, he'll go to those places, and took time. And finally, after few months, Buddha sent word to his father that he wished to come and meet his father in the palace. So the great King Sudodana, what he did, you can't let the ego loose, you can't let your ego down. So he said, okay, fine, I will meet him, but I will meet him in the darbar. So in the sabai, in the darbar. So it's like how you are going to meet a third person. If imagine if your son coming back home after so many years, how would you meet him? You go to your family room or in your room, you hug and you cry. But the king is so so much engulfed in the pain and ego. He said, I will meet him, like, because he's an enlightened one, then that's what he that's how he deserved to be received. So that's how I will meet him. Now, see, a very emotional moment. Siddhartha Gautama, no, Buddha, the enlightened one, walking in, with his three other monks. They are walking, 3 or 4 monks. They are walking inside towards Darbar, towards the king, and they give this picturesque description, like the hot afternoon sun shining. All they could see is just shadows. The suspense. And then when they saw, the father was actually noticing the sun. He was noticing the sun walking, and from the walk itself, the father felt something very different about the sun. And what was it? Gentleness. He didn't walk like a Siddhartha Gautama. He didn't walk like a king. But this person who was his son, now an enlightened one, he's walking, the way he walked showed the gentleness. Like, தமிழ்ல சொன்னா பூமிக்கு நோக கூடாதுன்னுவாங்கல்ல, like, you don't want even the mother earth to be hurt, that kind of gentleness. And the king then, what he sees the son. The son look at the father avarum nokinar, ivarum nokinar, both of them looking at each other. And first the king was like, when he comes, that's it, I'm going to ask him so many questions. But in this situation, there were very less words spoken. It's more to eye. um, it's like more the emotional sharing through their eyes, without even Buddha explaining himself. The father and Sudodana and Prajapati, they start to understand so many things about the changes, the transformation of their only son. And what is even more amazing is, without him showing proving his side of the justice, not justice, here his side of point of view, they understood that the path he chose was what he destined to be. And also they understood that this is not the same person, this is not Siddhartha Gautama, and this is their son, but they are not going to get back the same person as he was. Means this transformation is something that they're going to live through. So this acceptance, what gave peace to King Sudodana. Finally, he's accepted. Yes, what the Sudodana as a king could give his son is just a kingdom. And now Siddhartha Gautama, now he's Buddha, the enlightened one, he is the king of his own realm. And without his own kingdom, he have thousands of people following him, not for the fear, not because he born into the royal lineage, but to the wisdom that he has acquired as the enlightened one. So the father finally accepted, and Prajapati, she was waiting so much for the son. Yay, finally my son is coming home. My only son. And she has to come in term with the truth, the painful truth that, yes, that is your son, but he's not coming back to you. And what Buddha did in return was, he offered his invitation to them. Come and join me. Means no more mother, son, or father, son, king, prince relationship. I'm he's Buddha and they are going to be his followers. And what Buddha going to teach them is, of course, all the wisdom that he has gained from his journey. And then the king called for Yashodhara and Rahula, which valiantly Yashodhara refused to come. If he want to see me, then he has to come to me. Obviously, she's enraged. She has gone so much of pain for last 7 years, and at least this is what he could offer to her. Come and see her in person. And of course, for that also, she never allowed Rahula to go. She even asked Channa to guard Rahula. So now Buddha has no option. We can't say Buddha, Sudodana has no option, but but to send Buddha to Yashodhara. Of course, Buddha is a free will man. You can't force him, but with his own free will, he went to see Yashodhara. And that's too much of emotional there. When I was reading, I could put myself in both of their shoe. Too much of emotion. She has a lot of things to talk to him, to speak to him, and all he wanted from her is acceptance and understanding. And again, very few words were spoken during this meeting. Everything was understood. They just look at each other's eyes and they able to understand each other. Buddha saw the great transformation in his wife, where she remained in the palace, and how she from become a grieving wife to again emotional healer. And of course, you can't hide anything from Buddha. He could feel the changes, and he also understood all the suffering in her. Likewise, she saw before, she thought she will see her husband, but what she saw in front of her, the awakened one. And she saw lots of changes, and she knows that yes, he have chosen the right path. But for one single moment, Buddha shed a single drop of tear for we can't say for Yashodhara, but for the suffering that she has been gone through, because Buddha is very compassionate person. Probably it's nothing more, nothing to the familial tie. why, or the pain, the pain he might have caused her, and he just shed a single tear. And then very much like I said, then still she called the son, and poor boy, he's very much confused, he never seen his father, and he don't know how to react. He's 7 years old boy, he don't know how to react. And what Yashodhara said, go claim your inheritance. And what she meant by inheritance is, what I understood is the wisdom from the enlightened one. And Buddha, he gave a wooden bowl, his piksha bowl, wooden bowl, to his son. And the meaning of that, honestly, I can't decode as well. Probably he said, life is temporary. I've no idea, maybe in the other coming chapters, we will be able to understand. So this is all about the chapter 21 until 23. So now let me call upon Master Krishnaveni to share her understanding on chapter 24 and 5.
Humble pronouns to Pidamaka Patriji, the universal, and everyone in this platform. Okay, I'm going to share on the chapter 24 and 25. And this chapter 24 is started with the meeting between Yasodhara and Buddha. So this chapter as well, like what Pathma Master shared, it is very much goes on in a silent mode. Both Yasodhara and Buddha remain silent most of the time. They went inside a room, it's like a room whereby it is been arranged, the sofa in a circle manner. So they seated with a gap. So they used to be seated together every time when they was sharing their life as their life partner. But now, since Buddha is an enlightened one, so they are no longer sitting together. They sit with a gap of few seated. So when every time Yasodhara tried to open his mouth and open her mouth and talk, she always noticed that Buddha is always closed on meditation mode. The eyes is, most of the time, the eyes is closed. So she will wait until the eyes open, then she will start to talk. And most of the time, the conversation is in a very silent mode, and that there is no much of conversation between both of them. It's more on eye contact. It's more on eye contact, and both of them sharing. I would say like sharing. There is no more love. The love that Buddha have towards Yasodhara is no more like a wife and husband's relationship. It's more on like it's like normal. It's another third person talking, and but at one time, one moment, Buddha did admit it, and he says sorry to Yasodhara to leave her in a very difficult situation. So that is really make Yasodhara feel very relieved, and she feel very much gratitude to Buddha, because he realized that what he have done to the family, she admitted what she have done is unfair, but that is what he has been chosen in his life plan. Okay, and so it happened when Rahula is 7 years old. That means after 7 years only they are meeting each other. And there are many things to be shared, but they fail to share each other, because Yasodhara herself can't see Buddha as a husband at all. Because every time when Buddha opened his eyes, he feel like he's no longer the king of the kingdom, and no longer the husband, and no longer the father of Rahula. He's an enlightened person. So it's like she feel like very difficult to talk, and Buddha also is like more to like don't release his word. He just look at Yasodhara and close his eyes. Most of the time he go on silent and meditation mode. So there's not much of conversation between both of them. And Yasodhara also shared that they have activated as the circle, it's a sangha, and also the meditation, what we call meditation, like a conference, can say like a conference. They sit in the circle, and everyone in the situation they sit. Every one of them sit in the same level. Either be it they are a king, okay, a queen, or anyone, the prince or whoever, or the servant. Everyone they sit equally in a circle, and equally they meditate. And she was proudly say that they have followed the teaching of Buddha in the palace. So, and Buddha was very much happy about that information that she get, and he smiled and he nodded his head. Okay, that was in chapter 24. And finally, when the conversation and Buddha was just walked out from the conference room without saying anything to Yasodhara. It was like just a walk out. And then when the time he already walked out, and this Rahula come, and he called mother to Yasodhara, and Yasodhara opened the eyes, and she noticed that Buddha is no longer there. He left the place. Okay, so with that, chapter 24 ends, and come to chapter 25. In chapter 25, it's talking about Rahula is very much happy to know that Buddha is the father, and he is very much happy to follow the father's step. And he wanted to join the Sangha with the father, but everyone stopped him, because at his age of 7, there's no one there, and at the age of near to him also, there's no one there. So it's like more on the adult kind of Sangha, and he's not encouraged to join the Sangha, and they say that he's not ready to. There's much more time for him to understand on this and join the Sangha later part of his life. So they stopped him there. And at the same time, in the Buddha also, he had gone to another village whereby they have started a bigger Sangha, and they start to meditate, all that. And in the palace here, there is a war started. War started whereby most of the men and also the youth have left the country, and they go and fight. They left the home and go and fight for the war. Okay, support the war. And they also have a lot of diseases spread in the that point of time, when most of the men are out from the home and youngsters are out from the home. The mothers and the babies are they gone through a lot of suffering, because there is a disease started. And one of the mother and grandmother from the country came to Yasodhara and share her suffering that she had gone through, that 2 of the child have gone dead, and the other child is deathly bedridden. Okay, and for that reason, Yasodhara and also Prajapati goes to the king and ask the king for a help. How could they help these people to come out from their suffering? Since most of the men also and also the youngsters, they are not in their home anymore, because they have joined the war. So in this situation, the king say he can render only the help on the medicine, giving medicine to recover the diseases, all that. And for Yasodhara and also Prajapati, they have suggested they wanted to go out from the palace and go and stay with the people in the village to experience what they are going through. They want to experience and explore what they are going through by staying in the village together with the village people, no longer in the palace. So it is something that very new to the palace, say palace rules or what. So it's like there's no none of any ladies are used to go out from the palace or their home. But in this situation, there are many ladies are joined the Sangha, and Prajapati and also Yasodhara went out from the palace, tried to help them, tried to understand their suffering, and they also build do a circle of meditation, what we call meditation gathering in the village, while all the men and youngsters is no longer taking care of their family. So it was fully taken care by, the village was fully taken care by the ladies, and the babies been taken care by the ladies. So with that, this chapter 25 ends, and that's all from me. I hope I have shared what I learned from the chapter. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Master Krishnaveni. Don't worry, you did an amazing job. Okay, so masters, today probably you would have from us, what we shared today, it's what our understanding, it's more like a narration. So any of you who have read this book, would you like to share your own understanding, or if you have any questions, feel free to shoot it to us. Masters, anyone?
Mandy, I just want to say something. I just
Yes,
want to say
Thila.
thank you to Krishnaveni for volunteering to do this chapter. And it's so difficult to get people to read this chapter. I don't know why. And it is all very simple, actually very simple and short chapters. So please come forward and read. And then I want to give my thanks to Miraji for coordinating the whole thing. Thank you, Miraji.
My pleasure, Akka. Sorry, it was not as planned. I mean, it should have come out earlier, the flyer, but unfortunately, Gauri was, I've sent a message. Yeah, I'll.
No worries.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And then I want to thank Pathma ji also to constantly coming to the what do you call, to the help, and constantly coming and sharing her wisdom with all of us. Okay, I just want to, shall we stop recording and
Thila ma,